In this episode, we'll be covering how to add more inventory slots in-game, as if your character were to pick up a backpack or something of those sorts. So to do this, we need to create a new actor called BP Inventory Backpack. We'll go into Blueprints, Actors, Inventory, and this will be very similar to a pickup actor, but it will not be a pickup actor, so we're not making it a child of this. I'm gonna just click on something and focus on it with F to get us back in our scene here. So let's create a new blueprint class of type actor, and we'll call it BP Inventory Backpack. And we're going to open that up, and it needs a variable, and this will be amount of slots. And this will be the amount of slots it's adding to our inventory. We'll make it of type integer, and I'm just going to default it to 2. Let's also make it editable so we can change it per actor. And like I said before, the way we pick up our backpack will work the exact same way we pick up our inventory items, so we can copy and paste some of that code. But first let's add a static mesh, and this will be our backpack mesh. And if you have a actual asset for a backpack, this is where you want to add it. For us, we're just going to make it a cube. We're just going to search cube. Choose this one. It's pretty big, so let's just make it 0.3 in size. And we can kind of just drag this out to the world and see if that's a good size. Alright, that looks good to me. Yeah, that's our backpack. And let's also create a overlap sphere for this. So just search for sphere, add sphere collision. And let's make the size 500. So it's really big like the others. And let's move our character outside of this overlap sphere, because spawning inside a sphere can sometimes cause issues if you have the functions for begin and end overlap, which we will. And speaking of those, let's actually create those now. So let's create a begin overlap and click on the sphere again and make an end overlap. And we'll also need the event tick and put that there. So let's open our pickup actor so we can copy and paste some of this code to save some time. So go to pickup actors and pickup actor master. And we have our tick here. This is our input action and our begin and end overlaps. So let's first do the begin overlap. So let's just take all this, let's copy it, and in the inventory backpack, let's go to our begin overlap. Let's paste. Let's drag this here. So first we have our casting to our L1 character, and we want to plug this into other actor, and then we set this character ref. It's grayed out because we don't have a variable for player ref. So if we right click on this and press create variable player ref, it'll just create it for us. That'll be blue, and we're all good to go. For prompt widget, this is also grayed out because it's talking about the arrow widget above our mesh, and we have not added it to our backpack yet. So let's do that. So let's add a widget, and we'll just call this, I would call it prompt widget, but I want to show how to do it if it's named something else other than the pickup actor. So we'll just call it pickup widget instead. Here, F. And let's change the widget class here on the side to pickup prompt. It's huge again. We want to leave the draw size at 500 by 500. And let me check the pickup actor to see the size we made it here. It's 0.03. So it's 0.03. And we'll bring it up. Maybe 30 on the z-axis looks good. We're getting a blueprint bad because we have a lot of errors, and we'll go back to them. So this prompt widget right here, it's not the prompt widget anymore, it's our pickup widget. So we can just drag it out and replace it by just letting it go on top of the prompt widget. And then that sets the visibility to true. That reminds me, I also want to set the visibility default to false. Okay. And then it sets the update actor variable to true, which we also don't have. So right click and create variable update actor. Same we did for the player ref. Now if we compile, We have all our variables. This no longer says blueprint bad, and we're good to go. So now let's go back into our pickup actor master, and let's copy and paste the on component end overlap. And plug that into other actor. The only thing we have to change is this prompt widget, because it is now pickup widget. And sets our update actor variable to false, and this doesn't require variables. And then lastly, on our event tick, we want to copy and paste all this too. So I'm just going to kind of go through it one by one. This is setting the world location to the widget distance above mesh, which we can add as a variable for ours as well. Then if it's updating the actor, we line trace to our player. We set the visibility to true unless it is obstructed by something. If it sets the rotation so it's always facing us. Oops. And it changes to the E prompt if we're close enough, and then if we're close enough, we enable input. So I've just selected all of that. Copy. In the inventory backpack, let's paste. Let's bring it all over here. You have to kind of just skim through it again. Prompt widget instead is pickup widget. Our static mesh is now our backpack mesh. And our widget above mesh, we can create this as a variable as well, if you want. And we can make the default here as 30, which is what we set it to there, and make it editable so you can change it. We have these errors, and those are farther in. So update actor true, player ref camera, we're good. Line trace by channel. Prompt widget is now pickup widget. 6th branch on the top, set visibility. Change all the prompt widgets to pickup widgets. Rotation, I believe that's most, if not all, of our errors. And let's check down here. And pickup distance, which we also want to make a variable. So create variable pickup distance, make it editable. Let's compile. We've fixed them all. Let's change the pickup distance to the same as it is in our pickup actor, which is 150. But I think we made both of the ones 200 in game, so we'll just change this to 200 because that seemed to work a little better. Alright, so we can make sure that the widget now works. So we have our backpack over there. We come in, and our widget now exists, and it rotates to follow us, and if we're close to 200, it turns into an E. And pressing E won't do anything, but it does enable our input. So let's go to our BPC inventory. So blueprints, components, BPC inventory. And let's make a function, add more slots. And it needs an input of amount. This is just how many slots are we adding to our inventory. Make it of type integer. And we'll come back to this real quick, but let's go to our inventory backpack actor. And let's add an input action, which is our E key, if you remember. It's the same as our pickup actor master. And it will only register as clicking it if our input is enabled, which only is once we're close enough to pick up the backpack. So once we press it, we want to get our player ref and get the BPC inventory. And from the BPC inventory, we want to call add more slots, with the amount being our amount of slots variable. After we add more slots, we just want to destroy our actor to imitate actually picking up and equipping the backpack. So now we can go back into BPC inventory, and here we can get our player controller, and we'll have to cast to our HD player controller. Right click and convert to pure cast. We could definitely make our player controller here a variable in the initialize, because I think we use it more than once. Yeah, we use it here too, but it is up to you. So with our player controller, we just have to get our inventory slots, because our player controller, if you remember, is where we keep the amount of inventory slots we keep. And we just need to also set inventory slots. And the new number is the old number plus the amount, or the amount to add. This way our game will know we have more slots in our inventory actor component, but we also need to add it to our slots grid in our widgets. So let's go to our inventory grid widget. So UMG inventory, W inventory grid. Let's go to graph. And all we have here is just this generating these slots. So let's add a function, and we will call it add more slots in here as well, with also the amount, the input amount, sorry about that, as an integer. And we just have to get our inventory grid panel right here and get the children count. So how many children does it have? And in this case, children are our inventory slots. And we just have to make a local variable from this. We'll call it local amount of slots. So we need to create a for loop after this to add each slot. Sorry, not a for each loop, just a regular for loop. And the first index is 0, the last index is amount minus, get integer minus integer, minus 1. Since this starts at 0, to get the proper amount, we need to get 1 less than our amount. And we need to just copy and paste all this code right here from the pre-construct. So we have our for loop, and we just create new slot widgets, add it to the slots array, and add the children. So it's copy and paste right there. But we can't plug in this index to index like we did on the last one. And this is because the index here restarts at 0 when we need our 2 slots in this example to start at as the index is 8 and 9, because if we are adding 2 from our backpack, we have 2 slots as default. We need to add it to the indexes 8 and 9, which are the 9th and 10th slot. So to do that, we need to get the local variable, local amount of slots, and we add it to the index. And we can plug this amount into the index here, and also right here for figuring out where the children will go, which is also the 2 spots that in the pre-construct this regular index goes to. Now in BPC inventory, after we set our new amount of inventory slots, we just need to call that function. So with W inventory menu ref, we can get our W inventory grid, and we can call add more slots. And the slots we're adding comes from the input here, not this, because that's the total amount of slots. Lastly, we just need to initialize all the new slots, and we can get the slots array right here at the inventory slots, because this is an array of all our as inventory items. Lastly, we just need to initialize all the new slots. We can just get the slots array from our inventory menu ref. We get the slots. Oh, I mean from our inventory grid, slots array. And we're just going to reinitialize all of the slots, not just the new ones. Just to keep it simple, we're gonna reinitialize all of them. It won't hurt any of the ones that are already there, even if they have items in it. So we're just gonna get a for each loop, and off the array element we will call initialize. The inventory menu is our W inventory menu ref. Okay, so let's compile and save, and let's give this a test. So first, we'll just open our inventory, and we have our 8. Let's go over here, pick up the backpack, it disappears, press tab again, and we have 2 new slots. And we can still get items as normal, and it doesn't reach the rest. We can also grab an item. Now we have 4 items in our inventory. grab our backpack, and we still have our 4 items. We can also take our door keys over here. We can set the amount up to something above the amount of our previous inventory slots, like 9, because currently we only have 8. And we can pick up our backpack, and now we have 10. If we pick up our keys, oh, something isn't working. Give me 1 second. Oh, and I've figured out our issue. I missed one small step. Go into your BPC inventory, and here in our add more slots function, right after we resize our inventory slots from our player controller, we never told the BPC inventory itself that this inventory slots array was resized. So it doesn't know how to add anything to the new slots. So we just drag this off here, right after we set our slots in our player controller. We just take our inventory slots array right there, and we will resize. And let's plug this in here. And the new size is our new inventory slots amount from our player controller. So we can just take it right there, and now it should work just fine. So let's pick up our backpack. We have 10 slots. There are 9 keys over there. We pick them up. They've disappeared because we have picked up all 9. Alright. So everything seems to work great. We can even increase this amount of slots to any number we want. So let's say I want to add another 8. Just press play. Pick this up. We now have 8 more slots. And everything works accordingly. Alright. Great. So that is how you add more inventory slots in-game.